Hello again. After the end of the Second World War, with much of London's East End destroyed by the Blitz, the new Labour government began building various new towns, some of which would be populated by former Londoners. Harlow New Town in Essex was one such. On the edge of Loughton, also in Essex, a huge housing estate was built on open country. It was called Debden, and in the late 1940s and early 1950s, many East Enders moved to it. The railway station of Chigwell Lane was renamed Debden and became part of the London Underground system. That was pretty much how Debden remained for the next half century or so, until I moved here in 1999. I felt right at home here because, of course, these were all people like my own family who were from the East End. I had a grandmother in Romford, one uncle in Dagenham, another in Hornchurch, and my mother's family had moved to the Becontree estate when it was built. For me, Debden was like coming home. That has all changed now. Here are a few random instances of the changes that I've seen. Round the back of St Nicholas Church on Rectory Lane there was a run-down little sports hall. This was very busy in the evenings and full of children and teenagers. It was a great way for children to occupy their time. It was somewhere for them to go. They did trampolining there, gymnastics and fencing. It was a perfect community resource. Then one day it was claimed that asbestos had been found in the roof. It closed down and almost immediately caught fire. It never reopened, but was somehow sold to a property speculator, and a care home was built on the land. This is owned by Indians and staffed by Africans. You see them coming from the tube station in the morning. The Church of St Nicholas is a lovely old country church, which used to be owned by the Church of England. It's part of Old England, because in the graveyard is buried Sarah Martin, who wrote the nursery rhyme Old Mother Hubbard. A few years ago, the Church of England handed over St Nicholas to the Romanian Orthodox Church, and now every Sunday Rectory Lane is full of huge flashy cars parked bumper to bumper. They evidently liked the look of the area once it started coming to the church. For now, it's as common to hear mothers speaking to their young children in Romanian here as it is in English locally. In the street where I live, all the recent property sales have been to either Romanians, Bulgarians or Pakistanis. Afghan refugees have moved into some housing association properties which were built on the old college car park, so the sight of women in hijabs is now not uncommon. I think it fair to say that on Debden Broadway in the mornings now, the number of white English people has probably fallen below 50%. In the little play park on Rectory Lane at the end of Newman's Lane, one seldom hears English spoken these days. African carers from the old people's home go there to hang out when they're supposed to be taking old people out in their wheelchairs. They occupy the only bench there so that mothers can't sit down, and they chat away to each other in Yoruba. The mothers using the place are mostly Romanian. It's very rare to hear English spoken in that park now. From being somewhere I felt completely at home in, a place where I had a common heritage with the neighbours, shopkeepers and churchgoers, Debden has slowly but inexorably turned into a foreign town. I cannot see in what possible way this is an improvement on the way it was 25 years ago, and I would be curious to know what the advantages might be for us. We were not consulted. Nobody knew this was going to happen. Debden is not, of course, an exception. Across the whole of Britain, similar towns and cities are being systematically changed and turned into foreign districts, and it's considered bad manners even to mention this, lest one be accused of racism or xenophobia. Is it xenophobic, though, that on a Sunday afternoon, when I'm in the back garden, I would prefer to hear people in neighbouring gardens speaking English rather than Urdu or Romanian. Is that really a definition of xenophobia? Is it odd that I want to live in a place where people speak the same language as I do? Is that an exclusively English thing, or do you think people in Hungary or Nigeria feel the same way?